So this is just going to be a video outlining what my basic thoughts are regarding the entire situation. Christine Chandler, formerly known as Chris Chan, is a 39-year-old trans woman and fringe internet celebrity that is accused of taking advantage of their elderly mother and having sex with her. Some reports claim that the person's mother, Barbara, has dementia and is 82 years old. So if this person actually has dementia, and if Christine Chandler took advantage of them and had sex with them, aside from being a disgusting act of incest, it's also an act of rape. It's a criminal act of rape for simply having for having sex with someone who doesn't have the mental capacity to really understand and consent to what's going on. And I think that in a situation like this, we're just going to have to await the actual court transcripts to see with reliable evidence what the actual mental state of Christine Chandler's mother is as well. Because Christine Chandler has a huge amount of footage that is available online of what their opinions are and of their ideas regarding different subjects. Christine Chandler became famous for making this horrible, shitty drawing known as Sonichu, which is a combination of Sonic and Pikachu. And it's basically became what's known as a lol cow since then. Like, people have watched Chris Chan's videos just to laugh and make fun of him. But obviously, this has taken the entire Chris Chan saga, the legacy, has taken an incredibly dark turn because now Christine Chandler is in jail right now awaiting this charge of incest, this charge of rape. So what is the cause of this? Well, the first obvious reason that a thing like this could even happen is the subject's own depravity. This kind of crime is unimaginable, and it's extremely disturbing that a public figure, someone who had 60,000 followers on Twitter, someone who is known as being a kind of weird D-list celebrity, would even be accused of doing this. These kinds of crimes are not often disclosed. Hopefully they don't occur that often. And hopefully that's why we don't hear about them, because they don't occur often. But yeah, they're in a heinous and disgusting category in and of their own. The way that this actually came to be public knowledge was that someone recorded a conversation between themselves and Christine, in which Christine described, this is disgusting, warning, but he described how his mom had a G-spot and he was hitting it in a way that his dad couldn't. I mean, it would seem like I'm making this up, but this is the actual transcript of what was said. Like, this is an extremely disturbing case. So that's the first cause that could lead something like this to happen, would just be the depravity of the individual involved, the depravity of the defendant in this case. But I think another interesting thing to consider is the effect that fame, or whatever Christine has that resembles fame, like this notoriety, what effect did this notoriety have in warping their mind and leading them to do an act like this? I think that Christine should be Christine should be criminally liable. I don't know the mental state of Christine. I know she has autism, and there's probably there's obviously some kind of mental issues that are going on, but I don't know the extent to which Christine is going to be found legally competent. If a person themselves is found to be incompetent, legally incompetent, and irresponsible of their actions, then they can't be guilty. One of the things that's required to establish guilt is that a person of sound mind made a decision to commit a crime at some point, right? But if a person is so mentally disabled, or if they're so mentally not there that they truly don't have touch with reality, what often happens in the legal system is that they go to a psychiatric ward of some sort until they're deemed as fixed as they can be by some of the practitioners in that place. So I don't know to what extent Christine is going to be legally guilty. I think that the nature and the type of crime that occurred warrants some kind of mandatory, like, containment. Christine either has to go to long-term psychological care or a really long prison sentence, because this is some of the most disturbing kinds of sex crimes that people are even capable of committing. But it's interesting to reflect on the level of being able to be famous for just being a being a jester, basically. Like Christine being a lolcow, like people just made fun of her. People, like the entire rise of Sonichu, this occurred because like it was such a poorly illustrated cartoon that Christine Chandler made, and people mocked them for it. Like this person became famous for simply being mocked. So I don't know that in Christine Chandler's warped mind, this was just the next step of their fame, like the next step of them being this, because now they've certainly cemented their place in internet history. It's for the worst. Like it's a disgusting title. I don't understand why anyone would want to associate like their image, because Christine has an image, right? Like this person has cultivated this specific image online. I don't know why they would want this to be a part of that, this kind of horrific, disgusting, depraved kind of crime, but they did. And it's definitely worth exploring. It might be something that the defense argues, that that Christine was drove to commit this kind of act because they were bullied. Like even before this happened, like Chris Chan was bullied. People made fun of them all the fucking time. Like that was why people watched their content. So I don't know if the defense is going to argue that this was just something that Christine was pushed to do by their fans, but it's something that I actually want to see. Once the court trial transcripts come out, it's going to be interesting to see what the defense says, the role that fame played in this entire situation. So what should be done about this? Well, as I said, Christine neither needs long-term psychiatric care or to go to prison. We can't let this as a society be something that is okay. This is the one of the most disturbing things that a person can even do, and there should be equal consequence for the action that has already taken place. But what about the kind of online celebrity that a person can get just from being a lolcow? Well, there's no solution for that. Like even when Chris Chan goes away, even if Chris Chan is thrown in jail forever, this isn't going to happen, but well, at least this isn't going to happen from this crime. But if Chris Chan was thrown away, or if they died or something, if they died, there would just be another lolcow that would end up taking their place. And I think people would just flock to that person in the same way that they flocked to Christine Chandler. And another really interesting thing about this is that I did a little bit of research before making this video, and there's actually a book online comparing Christine Chandler to the late pop artist Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol was the artist who proclaimed that in the future, in the 1960s, he proclaimed that in the future, everybody would get their 15 minutes of fame. And Andy Warhol was kind of one of the pioneers of like legitimizing pop culture as high art, and like making the mundane kind of this new experience. Like Andy Warhol, in a way, was kind of this prototype for a person being famous for just authentically being weird. Because Andy Warhol would like film himself just eating a hamburger. This was something that he did, and he called it art. Like it's literally just Andy Warhol sitting down and recording himself eating a hamburger. And this was something that was presented as art. It's an incredibly mundane act, and it was paradoxically the point. That was the point of the high art, was that it was just this mundane thing that is being reappropriated as art. And I'm not going to read this fucking book. There's no way I'm going to spend the time necessary to fucking read a literary comparison between Chris Chan and Andy Warhol, but it's very interesting to consider the impact that this had. And I actually was able to find that someone, I'm pretty sure it's legitimate, but someone claiming to be Christine Chandler has read this book and even left a review, leaving a positive 5-star review of this, saying how much they loved it and how it was great. I don't know if Christine actually read the book or just 5-starred it because it was about them and like they were glad to get any kind of coverage at all, but it's just something to consider. So yeah, those are my thoughts regarding Christine Chandler. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you want my thoughts regarding. Like, I think it would be cool to kind of just like make random videos like this more, just whatever people are wanting to hear. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, and until next time.